connection and opportunity. All in one place. Come join the community. So text it now, don't wait in line. Fight for life. 949298295. That's 949298295.
Now I'm at the point you wanna be with me. I'm vibing out at a higher frequency, cause everything that I want and I'm gonna be, it's when I wake up, that's when I start to dream. Someone you love is talking down, here is the plan. Let it fall through like a handful of sand. Nothing happens overnight, what you must understand. If you dwell on the bad, then you don't stand a chance. Something you want upset, saying why it ain't mine yet. That's because now you have yet to change your mindset. People don't put their mind to rest while they're so wired. A lot of people go to sleep and wake up tired. Power of positivity and persistence. Say that I can, we'll just sit back and witness. Make an impact when our time is done. Make money, help people, and have lots of fun.
Hey.
Hey, how you doing, my friend?
I'm good, man. I am good.
Good to see you.
Yeah, same.
You look like you're all bundled up there. Yeah.
Man, I came home from the wilds of Thailand, and it's like chilly here in the South. I don't know what's going on.
That'll teach you.
You know, something about Blaine is about getting when you get a little old, when you get a little older. I don't know about this. I don't know if this has happened to you, but like I get cold now. Like it's like 60 to 70 degrees, and I'm cold. I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, you remind me of my grandmother. It's 75 in the house, and she keeps turning the thermostat up.
Well, I'm sure she was a wonderful woman.
She was. She absolutely was.
God bless her.
Well, welcome to Office Hours number 883, sort of, kind of, maybe. We're not actually too sure on what the actual count is, but it's close enough to be considered government work.
There you go.
So, there you go. David is on a 10-day, 12-city tour right now, so he may or may not be joining us, but we'll just kind of leave that in a parking lot, and if he shows up, he shows up. In the meantime, folks, as you're watching this, you've got my cohort partner in crime and good friend Rhett Power and myself, Blaine Bartlett.
Well, how have you been? I was out last week, but how are you?
I am doing spectacularly well. And I mean that very sincerely. That's not just, let me just kind of think until I make it. I really am. I'm doing great. Weather's great around here. Health-wise, just, kicking on all cylinders. Things are doing really well. Business is good. Life is good. And
I'm going to be out close to you next week. I'm going to be in Vancouver next week. So.
Oh, really?
I'm going to be down the street from you.
Yes, you are. We'll see if we can't wave at each other.
Yeah, let's do.
Okay. Yeah. Without further ado, though, I think we'll just bring up our first guest. The interesting thing about today's world is everything seems to be interconnected in some way, shape, or form. The Internet of Things. And security is always, I think, top of mind with folks about how do we, make sure that our content is safe, our data is safe, and that we're safe in accessing the different things online that we tend to access. And one of the challenges that I've worked with in some of the clients that I work with, particularly in the small to medium-sized organizations, is how do they afford infrastructure safety? I mean, being able to bring on a firewall that is robust enough to protect their data. And that's what our first guest is going to be actually educating us on, I think, a little bit here today. Brian Cute is the CEO of Global Cyber Alliance. And they've been around, 12 years now, since about 2015. And this is the space that they operate in, is cybersecurity. And They are one of the premier players in this space. And I'd love to hear your take, Brian, on just how does a small to mid-sized company actually, number one, what do they need to be paying attention to from a cybersecurity perspective, but also from a cost perspective? There's an investment to be made there to secure the data, to secure the network. And one of the things that I think that you guys bring to the table here is a way to do that within a common sense perspective that doesn't break the bank. So I'm going to just kind of turn the wheel over to you here, and then Rhett will follow up with another question, and we'll see where we end up.
Well, thanks, Blaine, and nice to meet you both. I appreciate you having me here today. I really appreciate you drawing attention to this particular issue and topic on Word Password Day. I don't think this topic can get enough visibility because the wave of cybercrime coming at us today at small businesses, and frankly all of us, is hair-raising. And the cyber criminals have learned how to leverage AI to deliver more effective, increasingly effective attacks. And you're going to fool people, fool people in small businesses, their employees, the three of us at home. I don't care how cyber savvy you are, you can get tricked into clicking on the wrong links today. And that's just a fact of life. So I really appreciate you shining a light on this topic today. For small businesses in particular, well, first let me tell you about Global Cyber Alliance. We are not-for-profit. We deliver basic cyber protection globally for end users who are at risk. We also work with the internet infrastructure operators because there's some things in the infrastructure that are weak from a security perspective. So we try to work in collective action with others to address the internet's really difficult challenges. And if you fix things on the internet infrastructure, every user becomes more secure. And if you're a small business out there and you don't know what your risks are and you don't know how to defend yourself, that's why we're here as well. So in short, for small businesses, what we've done historically is we've developed a toolkit that it takes each small business through basic cyber protection steps. It meets them where they are. It's easy to understand. It's a step-by-step toolkit that takes them through each risk that they need to be aware of. But importantly, we also point them to operational free tools. So tools that they can download into their devices, into their networks at work. And having tools that provide operational protection on your devices and your networks is really critical today. You can be as smart as you possibly can be on, what does an attack look like and what steps should I take to avoid it. But as I said, particularly with deepfake technology and AI, everyone's going to get tricked at some point. Having operational tools in the background, providing a second layer of defense is really essential.
Yeah, Brian, you're so right. Like, I get these emails sometimes that look so good. And I mean, it's increasing in frequency that I really have to sit there for a minute and think, is this invoice something I should like? And so I totally get what you're saying, and I think it's becoming more and more prevalent, and it's really good nowadays. And I'm glad you addressed this thing with small business, but I want to follow it up a little bit. I do a lot of big tech conferences, and I have conversations with CEOs of public companies and on these stages, and they're super worried about, and they're already seeing proprietary data, in AI models and language models, and so for small business, I think there's a similar kind of threat, right? What's your advice in terms of AI security for small and medium enterprises? Everybody's rushing to use these tools, and what's your take on that?
That's a great point. Rhett, everyone is rushing to use AI, and rightly so, from the perspective of this is a technology that holds the promise of creating efficiencies, insights for your decision making as a small business, and driving processes more effectively. All of that is true, but very few people are thinking about the fact that in AI technology, Gen AI, we know that those platforms
So
hallucinate.
sorry. I was coming
We
back to
know
get my
that they
lesson.
provide inaccurate responses. We know that they can be poisoned. We know that they can take personally identifiable information and exfiltrate it, right? So there are known risks associated with AI. And if you're just blindly using it, things may be happening behind the curtain that you're not aware of. Your data may be going places you're unaware of. Not only that, you may be handing over corporate sensitive data, right? About your products, about your strategies. So there's a risk side of AI that people have to be aware of, and people have to understand whether tools they're using, AI tools they're using, are in fact secure. That's a big issue. So I agree with you. I think people are kind of blindly jumping in and using it because they see the upside, but they don't know enough about the downside to make sure that they're secure and not being compromised in some way.
I just picking up on that, the accelerating integration of Claw as an example, where we've got agentic engines out there that are all linked together doing all kinds of autonomous sorts of things here. You mentioned providing access to free tools that can mitigate some of the risk. Are some of these tools structured in a way that can handle some of the potential risk that's evidenced with agentic AI, such as Claw, that kind of runs autonomously?
Yeah, I think, the tools that we offer, like for a sample of them is, multi-factor authentication, which I'll talk about in the context of passwords. There's one called Quad9, which is a protective DNS service. So if you download that in your devices, it will prevent your devices from connecting to a known malicious site. So that just minimizes your exposure to risk. So there are some tools that are really easy to implement, even if you're non-technical. The steps to implementing them are very, very easy, and they provide protection. And let's talk about passwords. If your password gets compromised, having MFA as a second step, a second layer of defense, can still protect you from a hack. That's why it's so important. At a minimum, and today being World Password Day, at a minimum, if everybody just used a strong password and knew how to create one with MFA, that two-step verification, you're going to be preventing a lot of hack risk to your organization. And so the trick is getting that information out to small businesses. The trick is helping them understand really how simple it can be to provide some protection for yourself. So on the password front, we have a toolkit, as I described. We have a section around strong passwords and multi-factor authentication tools. And the tools that we put there are free to the end user. And we tend to focus on the small businesses that are under-resourced. But, creating a strong password, it's not that hard. It needs to be strong. It needs to be memorable to you if that's what you're going to use. So in one of our training videos, we use a very simplistic device of think of two unique and different words, like, dinosaur and time machine. And then find a third unique word and create a phrase out of that. Dinosaurs riding a time machine. I'm going to remember that tomorrow, right? Dinosaurs riding a time machine. Very unique. No one's going to guess that. Difficult to hack if you add a special character and a number to the end of it. Now you have a strong password that's memorable to you. So the resources we offer are basic and instructive along those lines. And then we'll explain the importance of having multi-factor authentication, that second verification step where you're getting a code texted to you or some other resource, and how that provides you strong protection. But we point them to a free tool that's easily accessible that they can go find. Most of the platforms people use have two-factor authentication baked in as a feature, and all you have to do is go to your settings and turn it on. So that's the level of kind of guidance that we provide. It's accessible, it's easy to understand, and cybersecurity can be very intimidating to people. It's a complex, scary world. but there are ways to make it simple, easy to do, and put protections in place.
Perfect. Folks, I mean, as you're listening to this, the invitation here is to turn on your cybersecurity by going to globalcyberalliance.org. And you will have access to everything that Brian's talking about here. Brian, thank you very much. I mean, this has been instructional. I pulled out something from this that I'm going to be using right away. So I want to thank you for that.
Great. Thank you both. It was really great chatting.
You bet. We've got some other shows here. We'd love to have you on a couple of them. So we'll reach out.
Thank you, Brian.
This is a situation which this has nothing to do with.
Wow, good stuff.
Important, and really, really important, and I think it kind of can be overwhelming, right? I mean, it's and if you don't have, like you were talking at open it up to that segment, like if you don't have the resources to have a CTO or a chief technical person there, it's over your. I mean, it can be really over your head.
Yeah, and I mean, it doesn't really make a difference what size your organization is. You need to have a firewall of some sort, or something will leak, guaranteed.
Yeah,
been there, done that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, our next guest, I love this. You just mentioned you're going to be in Vancouver next week, and our next guest here, Tim Vipond, is out of Vancouver, the greater Vancouver area. And I'm actually looking at Vancouver Island right now, which is not Vancouver. Victoria is on Vancouver Island, but I can see Vancouver Island from my office here. So, Tim, welcome to the show, founder and CEO of Corporate Finance Institute. And financial literacy is, there's trillions of dollars that are migrating from baby boomers to the next generation. And in my experience, a lot of the folks that are acting, and I do a lot of work with family offices, that second, third, fourth generation, in terms of literacy, financial literacy, sometimes there's a big hole that needs to be either filled or bridged in some way, shape, or form. So what your organization is providing is education, finance education that's accessible, that's available, and is robust in terms of its ability to either bridge or close that gap. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, thanks for having me on. It's great to be here with you. And you're absolutely right. We focus on financial education, training, and literacy, mostly aimed at professionals working in finance, like in corporate finance, but still extremely applicable to individual investors, family offices, so on. So we teach the principles of financial modeling and valuation, how to essentially determine what a business is worth or a company's worth, how to forecast cash flows and business performance into the future and discount it back to today. A lot of this is sort of a big area of focus for us.
Perfect.
Well, I'm so curious. This is, we were just talking about AI, and Tim, and I'm so curious how. And there's a little selfish motivation here. I've got a son graduating this finance major, and so I'm curious from your perspective. How is this world changing, and how is your business changing with all the tools and technology that's available today to help us, helping brokers and helping people who are in the finance industry? How's this business changing?
Right. This is a big question for sure. We're seeing a lot of change and impact from AI tools. And I think there are some very positive things that are going on. First of all, it's really enhancing the quality of the analysis that finance professionals can do. It's increasing the speed at which you can perform the analysis. And then finally, the volume as well of the number of opportunities you could look at, the number of things you could model, et cetera. If you're using Claude and Excel, for example, you can build a forecast much more quickly than you could just doing it manually on your own. So that's one part of it. But the other part that we're still seeing is like fundamental knowledge is more important than ever, because if you don't understand the accounting that goes into it, if you don't understand principles of economics and business strategy, if you don't know those things that underpin it all, you can't really evaluate the work that Claude is doing for you, or iterate on it effectively. So you really I would say studying finance is as important as ever to have the foundational knowledge, and then use the tools to go do it in a more effective, impactful way.
Sit and watch it on camera.
I love that. And Rhett, I appreciate that question because it actually brings up one for me here as well. With all the changes going on,
This is
what should financial leaders, folks that are already in position, in a corporate position or in a fiduciary position of advisory, what do they need to reskill with the advent of a lot of this AI stuff?
Great question.
Paying attention to, and where does judgment come in? Because I can just let it run and then just say that's it right there, and not look at it, and then all of a sudden get my head handed to me.
Right.
Both metaphorically and physically.
Right. Yeah. Great point. And there are a bunch of angles to take with this. So one thing is, if you're looking at a finance function, and a finance function would have everything from accounts payable and receivable to payroll, sort of treasury, okay, and then like the corporate finance side of it, let's say. There are opportunities for automation with AI. So in accounts payable, accounts receivable, sort of manual processes that can really be enhanced with AI. So we use Ramp for our expense management within our company, and Ramp uses AI technology to scan receipts. So when I go to a restaurant and I have a receipt for an expense, AI is like scanning it, categorizing it, filing it, and taking care of it. So it's really effective at something like that. As you move up to closer to like corporate strategy or corporate finance, you need a lot of human in the loop, so to speak, still. And I would encourage teams to be experimenting with AI tools to see how they can improve their analysis, be faster, be higher quality, et cetera. But with good guardrails to make sure, like to your point, I would not autopilot any kind of super important financial decisions to AI. I would just use AI like a junior team member that helps people do more and do better, so to speak. But you need to have a culture of experimenting and adopting AI tools. And look, no one has more than a couple of years of expertise in AI. It's also new, so we're all in somewhat of an even playing field. It's not too late, to get up the learning curve. So we are just encouraging people to experiment and learn at this moment.
Perfect. Rhett, anything else?
Yeah, I would just I want to follow that thread a little bit, and from your perspective, what is the biggest mistake that are we making now in finance, and what are the biggest mistakes that finance professionals are making right now in terms of technology? Is it relying too much, or is it not experimenting enough, or is it something completely different?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think people are still mostly comfortable in their existing workflows, right? And we have ways of doing things in finance in Excel and PowerPoint. And, there's sort of some cliches that like the whole world of business and finance runs on Excel, okay? And so I think people are stuck in their ways, and we need to experiment more and try to adopt these tools as best we can, because if we can change the workflow, then we can have a big impact and get a lot more done. So I think experimentation is key at this moment.
That's me. Come on over.
Thank you. You can find out more about what Tim is up to and the company's up to at corporatefinance.com. We didn't get into this, but it's something that I think is worth mentioning. You serve learners, your educational platform serves learners, literally across 180 different countries. You've got over 2.8 million people engaged in what you're doing right now. So, you're the real deal. There's no question about that. So check them out. corporatefinance.com. Tim, thanks.
Thanks for having me on.
You bet.
Especially not recent.
There we go.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
That's good stuff. Hey, we got some good things going on here today. And we're going to go back to the East Coast right now of the United States back to Washington, D.C. Now, where are you at right now, Rhett? Are you in? You
I'm in
home?
I'm in North
You're-
Carolina today,
You're
but
North Carolina. Okay.
yeah, no, we certainly DC is home. So
Yeah, just right up. Yeah, you spent a lot of time there.
oh yeah.
So, yeah, Ankit Khanna is our guest here. Is the founder and chief technology officer of International Teachers University, and he's the co-founder and CEO of Sarasa. And we'll talk about both of those here in just a moment. Ankit, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, guys. First of all, thank you for having me on the show.
It's
And
wonderful to have you here.
I'm in Singapore, right?
You're in
I'm in Singapore
Singapore.
right now. Yeah, it's
Oh.
3 a.m. here.
3 in the morning
And
there. All right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So very, very early for me. And if anybody asks me what gets me up in the morning today, I'm gonna say office hours. So
Yeah, and it would be true. It would be true.
yeah,
So-
it would be true. Yeah.
Now, International Teacher University, what you are focused on is teaching teachers.
Yes.
And the idea here, I mean, as a teacher training organization, you've trained over 75,000 educators in India alone. I mean, that's a big number just to start with.
Yes.
What's the mission of the organization? And I also want to be sure that we bring Sarasa in.
Absolutely. So 75,000 teachers was done during the first project that we did as a company called Lead Transformations. That was the first project we picked up. And while we were doing it, it was a classic training model, 2 days training where we go into a school, our trainer would deliver the content to the teachers, and then we measure the impact. And from there to today, we have trained more than 200,000 teachers.
Okay.
That was a decade ago, by the way.
Okay.
And the learnings from the first project, like we built it for 3 years. We were actually the best teacher training company awarded for 3 years in a row. And then we shut it down. We were like, okay, this makes money. This makes a compliance sense, but this is not impactful at all because within a week, 90% of everything that a teacher has learned is gone. It's not retained. It's not in practice. What's the use? And that's where we came up with Sarasa, which is a teacher mobility and micro-credentialing platform. We have close to 700,000 teachers on the platform today.
Okay.
That's
impressive.
Yes. And then we have trained more than 200,000 teachers with micro-credentialing, with a flagship program that we have, which is a 1-year-long program, which is more like a passport program. You take that program, you can teach anywhere around the world, meets most of the compliances. And then International Teachers University is what came out as a necessity to bridge the credentialing gap, the major credentialing gap. So what's happening is that when we look at teacher shortages around the world, and I really would want this number to bother everybody who's listening to this podcast right now, there's a 69 million teacher shortage to be predicted by UNESCO by 2030.
69 million?
Yes.
Wow.
As of today, there's more than 400,000 classrooms, teacher shortage in the US. These classrooms today are either empty or run by someone who's not fully certified. So that's roughly 6 million American kids right now sitting in front of someone who shouldn't be teaching them. Now, that's huge.
That is.
That's staggering. That is staggering.
Yes. And, so when we started looking at this, the first question that we asked was, why are people who teach our kids not getting these credentials? And then we saw that, they are actually getting the worst education themselves. And we were asking, why? Why is that happening? Why are teachers not the one getting upskilled the most? Because they are the ones who make every profession happen. Like if I go and ask both of you today, who's the one dentist that you remember, or who's the one data scientist that you remember? You may have an answer, or you won't. But if I come and ask you, who's the one teacher that you remember? I think almost every single one of us remembers a teacher.
Mrs. Foster, my
And
third grade teacher.
yes,
You know who my seventh grade teacher was Stephen Colbert's brother, and
Oh,
oh,
and let me tell you, the comedy runs in the family. But I you know, so John
yeah,
Colbert.
my
Yeah.
gosh. Yeah.
see, that's the magic that teachers create, right? And that's exactly why we built, ITU. We didn't want a master's degree or a credential, which today costs somewhere in the 5 or 6 figures, to be a luxury for teachers. We wanted world class education to be provided to every single teacher, and we wanted it to be affordable. We wanted teachers to be able to expand their wings and travel around the world, teach anywhere in the world. The problem today with credentialing is that it's very rote, and it's basically, measuring how much time did you serve and how much uh, concepts did you get, but it does not tell you what skills did you practice practically in the classroom, teaching children uh, around the world or in a particular setting. All the classroom today are global. We need to have teachers which understand global setting. That's where ITU's Master in Education program comes into picture. It's $7,500. Make sure that you get every single skill that is required for a teacher to be ready for students who are coming today and 5 years from now. And we've been talking about AI a lot. And just imagine how AI is changing our students. Do you think teacher of today would be able to teach a child who has an outsourced memory, which is a chat GPT or a Claude, 5 years from now? And that's where ITU comes in. We make sure that our teachers are able to do that.
Beautiful.
That's that's where I was going to go with my next question. Like, what is the 21st century classroom? What does that really look like? I mean, I
Yeah,
think that's a fascinating thing, and because I don't, it's hard to know. It's hard to know how these technologies are really going to impact our learning and our, the idea even a couple of years ago that you turn in a paper that was written by AI, or you turn in
yes.
an essay I mean, I question: are we even going to write essays anymore, or do book study and read, read a book and summarize it? Like, and it seems like, I was having a conversation today about you still need to learn I think our last guest was even talking about this, about learning the basics. You got to have a really good base of knowledge to be able to get the most out of this
Absolutely.
technology. Are we too dependent on it now in primary and secondary education? I mean, I think this is one of the questions of our time.
Yes. And, it's called critical thinking. Like, there have been researches going on around the world. MIT, the biggest institutions around the world, are now telling that the critical thinking is getting lower in our students as AI is coming in. And I would answer this question in two parts. So, first is what is happening with our students? And second is what should teachers of the future be doing? I don't know what's going to happen in 5 years. Nobody knows. The world has gone from a 5 year journey to a 3 month journey where everything is changing every 3 months. Every quarter is a new invention coming in. But we have patterns. For example, for students particularly, we know that 10 years ago, a student could sustain attention for 25 straight minutes before the brain wanted a break. Now, that's a fact that we have observed through research. Another fact that a student today can retain attention for 90 seconds. And we have trained them for that. How Instagram shots, TikTok, YouTube shots, all of these things are reducing the attention. But a student 10 years ago could do only one thing at a time. A student today can be talking to you, would also be operating a phone and messaging, one of their friends, would also be watching a video on the side and actually learning, or getting some information out. So they are much better at parallel processing, but much weaker at critical thinking because that needs sustained attention. So that's where my student is today. What do I want my teacher to be able to do? My teacher today needs to, first of all, create confusion. And just stay with me where I go with it.
Well, this is good.
Create confusion, make students stay there long enough to just run through the problem in their head and just to strive or struggle through the problem so that they don't reach out to chat GPT as a first instinct. They are able to think through the problem. And that's where we develop critical thinking. Like most people think it's a skill. It's not, it's a muscle. It grows and grows the more you struggle. And that's what has gone out. And that's what a teacher brings back in. And that's how we developed our courses. Make a teacher make sure that you are able to take a student or take a classroom and just help them build that critical thinking muscle.
Kate, I love this. We've got a couple of other shows that we'd love to have you on as well. For me today, the critical thinking piece is the one that I am most aware of the lack of in particularly in some of the younger clients with whom I work. Ready, fire, aim is pretty a part of their process. They don't really take the time to go, wait a minute. Let's think about some things here before we pull the trigger on this.
Yes. Just to add a thought on this, we mentioned also about students being cheating away and all that. I think that's the lens we need to change, right? We don't want our students to think of AI as a tool. We want it to be a tool. And we want our teachers to train our students to lead with AI. And this is what I tell everybody that, always think like this when you're going into a classroom. We need to create students that lead with AI and are not led by AI. And that's where, the shift happens. So I just thought I'd share that thought because that's fundamentally what defines the role of a teacher.
That's
beautiful.
That's super powerful. Yeah.
That is. I love this. You can find out more about what Ankit and the organization is up to at internationalteachers.university. Again, internationalteachers.university. Thank you, Gigi, for putting that up. Check it out. There are some fascinating resources there. And, I've got a couple of teachers in my family. I am going to be keying them into this episode just to have an opportunity to talk to them.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
And then we went in yesterday, just called a ton of people.
Man, that is I think what he's working on is really, really powerful, and it's really the question of the day, right? How do we prepare our teachers for the world and educating our kids for this world that they're going to live in, and I think that's super critical. I wish policymakers would listen to this, right?
From your mouth to God's ears. Truly. Let's dismantle education systems and see what we do with that. Takeaways.
Right. And so the people that tend to want to work.
I really, really love that when we have people on that are thinking about this evolving world and doing something about it and finding solutions to our challenges. I mean, I love the finance education. I love the working on with helping teachers evolve and be able to teach in this new century and in this new world. And I love the security for small. I mean, again, a massive problem. I mean, small businesses make up most of the employment and most of the opportunity in America and across the world, right? And so they need the same tools that the big companies and have access to, right? They need the same things so that those businesses can thrive and keep our data secure. So I just love people who are finding solutions to these real problems and I just find it fascinating. I
Yeah.
love it.
That's good stuff. Yeah, I'm going to just kind of piggyback on that. In the pin that I'll stick in it is around critical thinking. Because I think critical thinking when it comes to infrastructure safety, security, cybersecurity, critical thinking when it comes to finance, and just kind of how do I educate myself, and team, what do we need to be paying attention to, and then literally, from an educational perspective, who's teaching my kids, who's teaching my grandkids, and what are they teaching? What are they teaching? And so something as abstract as critical thinking has to be, I think, the ground of any educational process, whether it's cybersecurity or financial literacy or just generalized education. So that's my takeaway on this, the power of critical thinking.
I hadn't heard anybody say what he said about challenging, making it making it confusing so that they make them, like, that's so counterproductive to like being in the classroom and trying to make things clear, right? That was interesting.
And you're very well, your book on head of mentals actually kind of orients around this as well. We human beings tend to be pattern seekers, pattern recognition, and everything kind of runs in patterns. And you try to introduce something new when the pattern is running, you can right away. So confusion is a great pattern interrupter.
Yeah.
Like, what? It creates a space.
Well, that's I think that's worth the show in itself.
Yes, it is. Rhett, thank you very much. I think we got another one in the bag here. So we'll see you next Thursday. Folks, thank you for listening. Office Hours. This is the Soul of Business edition of Office Hours. My co-host today, Rhett Power. David is, like I mentioned at the front end of the show here, he's on a 10-day, 12-city tour. So you can catch up with him. I know tomorrow he'll be doing his Friday show tomorrow. So do take some time and connect with it. And Gigi, I'll turn it over to you.
Take us away.
Let your phone ring, 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 ring. 949298295. That's 9492905. Events, connection, and opportunity. All in one place. Come join.
Now I'm at the point you wanna be with me. I'm vibing out at a higher frequency, cause everything that I want and I'm gonna be, it's when I wake up, that's when I start to dream. Someone you love is talking down, here is the plan. Let it fall through like a handful of sand. Nothing happens overnight, what you must understand. If you dwell on the bad, then you don't stand a chance. Something you want upset, saying why it ain't mine yet. That's because now you have yet to change your mindset. People don't put their mind to rest while they're so wired. A lot of people go to sleep and wake up tired. Power of positivity and persistence. Say that I can, we'll just sit back and witness. Make an impact when our time is done. Make money, help people, and have lots of fun.